Released in 1997, The Fifth Element is a science fiction film from the 90s. Directed by Luc Besson, this film was a visual spectacle far ahead of its time, blending futuristic design, mind-blowing effects, and memorable characters. But what truly made this film iconic was the unique way it brought a futuristic world to life without any advanced CGI or the VFX that we know today. So how did the makers of The Fifth Element show this amazing masterpiece on screen? Let's dive deep into the behind the scenes of some of the most memorable sequences and discover how the magic was made. In this scene, Korben Dallas is relaxing inside his tiny futuristic apartment, and then a flying Chinese food boat pulls up outside to his window. The boat is captained by a friendly chef, clearly an old acquaintance, who serves Korben a hot meal by pulling out a small table and laying the food right at his window. While the scene beautifully captures the imaginative world of the future, it was shot entirely in front of a green screen. The boat you see in the film was a real custom modified prop designed specifically for the shoot. The scene where it floats outside the window was filmed on set with a green backdrop. To simulate the boat's movement as it flies away, the filmmakers mounted it on a massive gimbal system. This allowed for precise movements of the boat, mimicking flight and turbulence. Later in post-production, the background was digitally replaced with the futuristic cityscape of New York in the 23rd century. The result was a seamless blend of practical ingenuity and digital enhancement, giving us one of the film's most charming moments. Next up, one of the most iconic sequences in the film is Korben Dallas's flying taxi. To bring this on screen, the filmmakers constructed a full-sized model of the taxi, which they suspended on a rig system in the studio using gimbals. This setup allowed the vehicle to tilt, sway, and fly realistically, while the background was shot entirely against a green screen. Interior and close-up shots of the taxi, especially with Lilo, were also captured using the same life-sized model. As seen in the behind-the-scenes clips, the crew carefully coordinated these shots to match the dynamic movement required, while post-production replaced the green screen with an expansive view of the futuristic city and its buzzing traffic. But how exactly was the sprawling futuristic city brought to life on the screen back in 1997, since CGI was still in its early stages and wasn't as dominant or advanced as it is today? For this, the filmmakers heavily relied on physical miniatures combined with digital enhancements. They went old school and crafted miniature models of futuristic cities, towering buildings, and traffic systems. These miniatures were filmed with painstaking precision and enhanced later with basic digital compositing. Behind-the-scenes images show these models of the city and buildings. It was a perfect marriage of model-making artistry and emerging digital technology, a blend that helped The Fifth Element age like fine wine. One of the film's most jaw-dropping scenes comes when Lilo escapes from a government facility confinement and jumps from a skyscraper, free-falling through the air before crashing into Korben's taxi. To pull this off, the production team built a physical set for the top section of the skyscraper with ledges and panels. Actress Milla Jovovich stood on this elevated section before leaping onto the green screen safety pad placed just below. Everything behind her, city skyline, flying cars, and depth, was added digitally in post. But the physical performance and practical set grounded the scene in realism, making the daring leap feel all the more thrilling. At the beginning of the movie, we're introduced to the Mondoshawan, ancient alien protectors who arrive in Egypt aboard a massive airship, bringing with them the 4 elemental stones and the 5th element. Rather than use CGI, these towering beings were brought to life using animatronic suits worn by real performers. Each suit stood around 7 to 8 feet tall and weighed heavily on the actors inside, which gave the creatures their deliberate, majestic movements. Their design was a brilliant fusion of ancient Egyptian and futuristic motifs, giving them a timeless, godlike presence. Inside, The suits had remote-controlled head mechanisms operated remotely by crew members, allowing for subtle expressions and gestures that added realism to these massive beings. Next, we shift to a darker, tech-driven moment when Jean-Baptiste Emmanuel Zorg, played by Gary Oldman, shows off his devastating multifunctional weapon, the Zorg ZF-1. The multifunctional gun used on set was a detailed practical prop, complete with pre-installed lights and sound effects. When Zorg shows how the bullets can curve mid-air to strike the same target, visual effects were added in post-production to enhance the sci-fi spectacle. The prop was fully functional on set for the actor's performance, adding a tangible feel to the futuristic tech. In the film, those snarling reptilian mercenaries, Mangalores, were another showcase of incredible practical effects. Instead of CGI, the creatures were portrayed by actors who wore full-body latex suits paired with animatronic masks that controlled facial expressions and mouth movements via remote control. The heavy rubber suits limited the actors' mobility, which unintentionally added a jerky, animalistic quality to the aliens' behavior. And finally, we arrive at the explosive climax of the film, where Diva Plavalaguna performs her operistic masterpiece while chaos erupts around her. As she sings, Corbin engages in a high-intensity battle with the Mangalores in and around the theater. In these behind-the-scenes clips, you can see that much of this sequence was filmed practically using real sets, practical explosions, and staged fight choreography. Multiple cameras and microphones were set up in advance to capture the dynamic action and audio. The behind-the-scenes footage reveals just how immersive the filming process was. Fire, smoke, hand-to-hand combat, and destructive set pieces all brought together in one massive practical shoot. The result? One of the most unforgettable action sequences in sci-fi cinema history. The Fifth Element is more than just a sci-fi classic. It's a celebration of creative filmmaking at its finest. It bridged the gap between practical effects and emerging CGI, relying on craftsmanship, bold design, and innovative thinking to transport viewers into a vivid, unpredictable future. Even over 25 years later, it stands as a masterclass. But what do you think about this movie and its making? Let us know in the comments section down below.